Barkanku, a cikin wannan video in za mu magana akan positions a cikin CSS. Me ake cewa position, ya za ku yi amfani da su, kuma what are the type of position da muke da su a cikin CSS. So me ake cewa positions, ko me ake cewa positioning a cikin CSS. Positioning is the process of defining how you want your position to position elements in your CSS. So shine process in da kake son yadda kake son kai aligning ko yadda kake son elements su yi display a cikin web page ɗinka. We have different type of position, and we have the static position, we have the relative, we have the absolute, and we have the fixed position. Those position help us to kind of display our element the way we want in our web page. After all, we are designing a web page, or we want to be able to have full access or full control of how we want our element to be designed. So I have created this document in the Vic Arabam overview of what we are talking about. So this is a web page which I have created that gives us an explanation of what I'm talking about. So we talk about static positioning, right? Static positioning, one abun da yake shine ko static positioning, this is a default positioning in which every single element in our web page by default is a static position. So what does this mean? It means that by default, any web page, any document is static. So it's not going to have any kind of a different style. It's going to be static. So moving on to the next thing, which is the relative thing. So relative also is kind of similar with the static position, but the main difference is that relative can change from width to right. The elements are positioned relative to their normal position in the document flow. So hunga ananya, when it said okay, it's like the normal, that is the normal every single document. This document automatically is a static document, while is going to be a relative. We can use a relative positioning to kind of position our element. Then we have the absolute position. So what does absolute position do? It places our element absolute to the nearest element. So it's going to kind of take off the space, or it's going to make a element to be in a static, in a constant position, and that position will not change no matter what happened. Then the third one, I'm going to give an example of this in the using the other page of we have. So the next one here is the fixed position, fixed position, right? What does fixed position? If you can see this box, we keep it as fixed position. Fixed position abundeke shine is going to fix a position for an element, right? And that position will not change even though you scroll up and down. It's going to be in a fixed position. So up and down, I'm gonna scrolling in when I'm scrolling up and down, but this box is in a fixed position, so it's not going to change on us whatsoever. It's not going to change, but the chances are it's going to be like that constantly. So bari mu ba da example din duk wannan abubuwan da muka magana. Okay, starting here, already now creating one web page in which is that a little bed story, and here we have the baby bed, which is the static. Here we have the daddy bed, which is a relative, and we have the mommy bed, which is the absolute, and here we have uncle bed, which is the fixed elements, fixed position. So let's go back to our CSS Mogani, and this just normal with something that I just created. So what I did here is that I created in div elements saying about the ID then, so as baby, dad, mommy, and one uncle position or uncle element. So that I'm one static thing, since we have already learned that static position are going to stay in their position and they won't change no matter whatsoever, whatever happened, it's not going to change in their position. So how ga da zamu zo anan. So idan haka yi amfani da position, zaka zo ka ce okay position, then kai typing in position, sai ka kira sunan position. For example, let's say static. So static ba zai canza ba, no matter what happened, it's going to be in a static position, because every single HTML document, every single web page is by default a static document. So that one will be saving wannan za ku ga cewa wannan box din ba zai canza ba. So that is it about static positioning. And shi wannan daddy dad wannan, which is the daddy ko ba haka ba, daddy bed, which is the relative position, it's kind of similar to the static position, but it's different. So da za ku ce za mu zo mu rubuta okay position, muka ba da position din mu as relative. Idan muka yi saving za ku ga cewa ba za a samu kowane canji ba. Sai ku ta okay, what is the main difference? What is the main difference between these two things? So the main difference is that static relative elements allow you to move your elements from the left, right, up and down. So you can be able to move it to the right, left, and bottom and top. You can be able to do it. Example of this is by using the left function or property by saying okay, left, take it, okay, maybe 10 pixels. I want my element to go left in a 10 pixels. Idan muka yi haka za ku ga cewa our elements have moved. This element, this daddy element, ya yi moving zuwa what, the left side in a 10 pixel. Okay, da za mu ce similar thing, we can come here and just maybe copy it and give the static thing. So idan za mu ce mu samu static din nan shi ma haka, sai mu ce okay, mu saving din ne, mu zo mu yi loading din. Za ku ga cewa static elements din mu bai canza ba. Abin da ya sa shi ne static element din mu is a static element, kuma ba zai canza no matter what happened. It's not going to change. So shi ne babban amfanin shi wannan positioning din. It allow us to position our elements in our CSS or in our web page in a certain way we want while styling or while designing our web page. So moving on to the next one, which is the mommy bed, which is the absolute positioning or absolute position. What does absolute position do? According to what we learn is that absolute position is going to keep that element in a certain thing, in a static place, and in a place that is going to be absolute. So it's not going to change no matter what happened. But let me buy example again. Okay, positioning, our position is absolute, and idan mun kai saving, za ku ga abin da zai faru. Za ka ga position in it's have covered up the above position, or it takes up the down position and it make itself as an absolute position. So I'm gonna, because it's kind of going to mess up this, so I'm just going to remove the absolute position here and maybe put the absolute position to this, for example. Maybe when not this, maybe I can just come here to this H1 and we'll just say okay, absolute position absolute, because our H1 is the header here. We have as the story of a little bit, right? So za ga abin da ya faru. So kun ga abin da ya faru ko anan, za ku ga cewa wannan title din as the story of the bed ya zama absolute kenan. Ya yi sticking, ya yi covering in certain position, which is the padding of the down padding of the nearest element, and it stay in a certain position. So kaga it stayed in a certain position, be canza ba ko ba haka ba. So let's just remove this and I'm just going to remove this. And so the next one we have here is the fixed position, okay, which here we give as our uncle position. So what does uncle positioning do? It makes an element fixed. For example, which what we give here, fixed box, right? It can go up and down. We can use it like when you scroll, it's going to be in a fixed position without changing any single thing. So instead of using the this down uncle element, I think we are going to use the H1. But let's use it and see what will happen. It's not going to work, because this element is in down, and there is no any more content that Zamo is scrolling. So for example, okay, position, so much fixed. So there will not be any reaction on this, because our position will be it's going to be fixed. So how it just disappear, right? Because it's supposed to be, we should supposed to be able to be in a fixed position, then we'll be able to scroll up and down, go back up. So I'm just going to remove this, and I'm going to save this, save it again. And now let's put the same thing to this H1 then. So this is our h1, which is our title here. So our h1, let's give our h1 positioning in, we can give this h1 as positioning in fixed. Okay, then we just keep. Okay, so you see what happened, right? Our h1 here is a fixed element. So we put this so that we can be able to scroll up and down, and this element will not be able to change from his fixed position. So this position elements can come in handy when you are designing a web page, and they are absolutely amazing when you are deciding it's help you to kind of move element in the cookie. So, and this is not limited to certain any element. You can use this for any element when you create what do you call it, navigation. Maybe if you have a navigation bar, you created a navigation bar and you want that navigation bar to be in a fixed position without the navigation going up and down. So you can be able to use this kind of thing and to kind of execute whatever you want. So that's it about position or positioning a chicken CSS, and I will see you in the next video. In the Magana, I can CSS element.